They knew that taking people away from Islam is very difficult, but to make them weak Muslims was easy. So they were teaching me to do these types of things. In the evenings, I was sitting with a group of Christians, and well, actually it was mostly Jews, that would teach me Quran and Hadith and how to play with it.
Hidayah bisa datang kepada siapa saja, karena pemberi hidayah hanya Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Seperti kisah Dr. Shariffa Carlo Al Andalusia yang memutuskan untuk memeluk Islam. Sebelum jadi mualaf, Carlo dipekerjakan untuk menghancurkan Islam. Ini bukan organisasi pemerintah yang saya ketahui. Mereka hanya menggunakan posisi mereka di pemerintah AS untuk mencapai tujuan mereka, ujar Shariffa Carlo, dikutip Muslim terkini dari situs The Muslimah.
My father was American military. My dad's commander came to me and he said, look, we know your family, we know your position, we know that you are really good at debating and talking to people and convincing people, and your grades are good and you're a good Christian. So we want you to be part of this group, and you are going to take women away from practicing Islam to basically being free and feminist and living their lives.
Organisasi ini mendidik para anggotanya tentang agama Islam, Al-Quran dan Hadis, dan menafsirkannya sesuai kepentingan mereka.
So they were teaching me to do these types of things. In the evenings, I was sitting with a group of Christians, and well, actually it was mostly Jews, that would teach me Quran and Hadith and how to play with it. You know, in the Quran it says to take your veil and to put it over your bosom. Well, it doesn't say over your head, it says over your bosom. So if you wear a shawl, you're doing what the Quran says. So somebody who doesn't have a lot of knowledge of Islam and doesn't know that the women were already covering their head and it was just fixing the hijab, not that they didn't have to cover their head, it'd be easy to misguide them.
Tujuan utama organisasi ini adalah untuk merusak generasi-generasi Islam dengan cara merusak pemikiran kaum Islam, terutama perempuannya. Mereka ingin saya pergi ke negara-negara Muslim untuk berbicara dengan wanita Muslim dan mendorong gerakan feminisme terutama kepada kaum remaja.
They knew that taking people away from Islam is very difficult, but to make them weak Muslims was easy. They also recognized that, because I did question, why are we targeting feminism and women? And their answer is, if you destroy a man, you destroy a man. If you destroy a woman, you destroy the generations that come after her. So they become less practicing of Islam. They become weaker and more focused on the dunya and not on the akhirah. These people can be easily manipulated and moved and done whatever they want to do with them. They don't care if these people go to Jannah or Jahannam. What they care about is we can control them, we can manipulate them, we can make this society do what we want them to do. You know, there's an old saying that the strongest way to control people is sex, drugs, and music.
Dengan niat ini, Carlo pun kuliah dan memulai mendalaminya. Dia mulai mempelajari Al-Quran, Hadits dan sejarah Islam. Namun, begitu Carlo mulai belajar, dia mulai tertarik dengan Al-Quran dan mencintainya, dan apa yang dikatakan Al-Quran itu masuk akal baginya.
But in order to do that, I had to read Quran, I had to read Hadith, and I fell in love with the Quran. The first thing, as you're reading the Quran, it is so logical. The Quran makes sense. When you're sitting there and reading it and looking over the verses, you're understanding there's only one God. This God doesn't have a child. This God is omnipotent. This God is everything that you may need in a God, everything that you would think is a God. It made sense.
Keimanan Carlo pun terguncang. Dia memilih untuk mengikuti kelas kekristenan pada profesor bidang teologi dari Universitas Harvard.
Nobody could answer the questions when I asked them about this Trinity Christian. I'm taking the classes in Christianity. I go into the class. It's a Harvard graduate professor. He's like 80-something years old. He is very well known as a theological scholar for Christianity. And I said, okay, he's going to teach me the Old Testament, the New Testament from the original. We studied the Greek, the Hebrew, the Aramaic, the Latin. And the first thing he did in class, he picked up a copy of the Bible, the King James Version, in English, and he said, take this and throw it in the trash. My heart froze. And then he said, Jesus didn't speak English. And then he took us back. Turned out that he was a Unitarian, meaning that he believed that there was only one God and that Jesus was a prophet. Subhanallah.
Pada saat saya menyelesaikan kelas ini, agama saya telah dihancurkan, tetapi saya masih belum siap untuk menerima Islam. Setelah beberapa tahun mempelajari Islam, Carlo mengalami suatu mimpi buruk yang pada akhirnya membuka hatinya untuk menerima Islam.
I had this dream where I'm running and I'm terrified. There's something behind me and it's evil. I can't see it. All I can do is hear it, and I know that it's coming after me, and I know that it's evil and it wants to destroy me. I woke up terrified. At that moment, I begged. I said, "Oh God, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, I don't care who you are. I need to know the truth. I need to know who you are."
Suatu hari, Carlo dihubungi dan diajak bertemu seorang Muslim yang sedang berkunjung ke kota. Dia ingin Carlo bertemu dengan mereka. Carlo setuju dan pergi menemui mereka setelah salat Isya. Mereka berdiskusi dan berdebat tentang berbagai bagian dari Alkitab dan Al-Quran sampai subuh.
I had been the whole night arguing with this poor old man. May Allah give him Jannat al-Firdaus. He's like, "We have to pray, but I invite you to become a Muslim." And these words were very strong to me because nobody had ever said, "Become a Muslim." Even though I'd thought about it, nobody had ever invited me to it. I never leave anybody without saying, "I invite you to become a Muslim." When he said these words to me, my heart was like, this is what I want, this is what I need. So, alhamdulillah, I told him yes. When I took the Shahada, I felt something I never felt before. I was saying, "Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah," and I felt like there was something heavy on my chest that had been ripped off. I literally went, and it was as if for the first time in my life, I had breathed in.
Setelah masuk Islam, Carlo mendapat banyak cobaan dalam kehidupannya, terutama dari keluarganya. Ia selalu percaya hanyalah Allah penolongnya.
I called my father, who at that time was in Germany, and I was like, "I became a Muslim." And his words, "Are you crazy? Have you been brainwashed? What's wrong with you?" He wasn't happy, of course. And he told me, "That's it. I'm sending a ticket. Tomorrow you'll be on a plane on your way to Germany." And he said, "If you don't take this ticket, I no longer have a daughter. You're dead to me." And wallahi, it's only from Allah that I was able to survive that, because I was very close to my family. But again, it was only from Allah. Only from Allah, because I'm not strong. I know that I'm not a strong person. But Allah gives you what you need. Right. So I had a brand new cherry red Camaro. I sold it. And I lived from that for the next year. I don't know who. There were days I would come down. I never told anybody I had problems. I never told anybody that my family had disowned me. But I would come down, because I lived upstairs, to my mailbox, and I would find envelopes of money inside. I'm going to assume the Muslim community thought this woman needs somebody to help her. But to this day, I don't know who left that money, but alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, they helped a lot.